Okay, picture this. You let a friend borrow your car to run a quick errand. Seems totally harmless, right? Well, depending on your policy, that tiny favor could either be perfectly fine or it could end in a massive, completely uncovered financial disaster. Welcome to This Explainer. Progressive is known industry-wide for their super flexible coverage, but today we're going to demystify exactly how adding a driver to your policy doesn't just ensure legal compliance and enhance your coverage, but can actually unlock some pretty significant financial discounts. Let's dive in.
Here's how we're going to break it all down today. We'll start with why you need to add a driver, and then figure out exactly who needs to be on there. Then we'll run through what you need, the step-by-step process, how to maximize discounts and premiums, and finally, some crucial exclusions and final tips.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, why add a driver? It all comes down to the importance of accurate coverage.
So adding a driver basically ensures that if they crash your car, they are legally covered. I mean, the absolute last thing you want is a mountain of out-of-pocket medical or repair bills just because someone wasn't properly rated on your policy. Keeping it updated keeps you completely compliant with state laws. But perhaps the most exciting part? Being proactive about all the drivers in your household actually opens the door to stacking multiple discounts. It literally transforms what feels like a boring administrative chore into a real money-saving opportunity.
Now, there's a really important distinction here between two terms you'll hear thrown around a lot: adding a driver versus sharing a policy. It's kind of like this. Simply adding a driver just covers them while they're physically behind the wheel of your specific car. But sharing a policy? That means you and someone else, like maybe a roommate or your significant other, actually combine both of your vehicles onto one single joint Progressive policy. This is incredibly powerful because it often qualifies you for joint savings, which we'll get into in just a bit.
Moving on to Section 2, who needs to be added? Let's define the rules of the road here.
Okay, this right here is where the absolute most costly misunderstandings happen in the insurance world. The crucial concept to grasp is permissive use. Basically, if a friend who lives across town borrows your car for a quick afternoon errand, your Progressive insurance usually covers them without you ever needing to officially add them to your policy. But, and this is a big but, industry experts note that permissive use is strictly for occasional use. We're usually talking fewer than 12 trips per year. And beware the gray areas, like lending your car to a buddy for a 7-day cross-country road trip. Yeah, that really pushes the limits of permissive use. It might honestly be way safer to just temporarily add them to your policy to avoid a completely denied claim.
Which naturally leads us to a massive question, one that causes a whole lot of anxiety for renters, couples, and families alike. What about the people actually living under your roof? Can you just use that permissive use rule for your roommate? The short answer? Absolutely not. Insurers strictly require that all household members of driving age who have regular access to your vehicle must be listed on your policy. Permissive use, flat out, does not apply to people you live with. Why? Well, residents have regular access to your keys, making them regular operators in the eyes of the insurer. This means roommates, spouses, teen drivers with a permit, and yep, even college kids who just come home for winter break. And don't even think you can hide them. Insurers regularly scan DMV databases, and having unlisted household members can trigger automatic rate hikes or worse, severely denied claims.
So, let's look at Section 3, what you need. This is your preparation checklist.
Before you hop online to make any changes, you'll need to gather a few things. Get the new driver's full legal name, their date of birth, and their exact driver's license details. You absolutely need an honest accounting of their driving history and any prior claims too. Progressive prices your premium based on risk, so being perfectly accurate here is vital. And finally, if you're combining policies and bringing their car over, grab their vehicle identification number or VIN. Trust me, having all this in hand before you start will make the whole process take literally just a few minutes.
All right, Section 4, the step-by-step process. Here's how to actually make the change via the app or your phone.
The good news is, Progressive has made the user interface incredibly simple. You really don't have to navigate some nightmare maze of paperwork. Just follow these 4 easy steps on the Progressive app or their website. First, log in. Then, tap Manage Policy, select Drivers, and just plug in that checklist of info we just talked about. The system instantly calculates it and lets you review any premium changes before you officially hit Submit. It's totally transparent. Now, if you have a more complex situation, say an out-of-state license, a newly married name change, or you're combining some tricky coverages, don't sweat it. Just call 1-866-749-7436. A licensed Progressive agent will seamlessly handle the whole shebang for you.
Next up, Section 5, Discounts and Premiums. Let's talk about maximizing your household savings.
You can actually stack various discounts to offset any rate increases you might see from adding someone. For example, if you and your roommate combine vehicles, boom, you can grab the multi-car discount for an average of 12% off your base premium. Got a teen driver? Well, if they pull down a B average, the good student discount kicks in. If they head off to a college more than 100 miles away and leave the car behind, the distant student discount drops your rate even further. And literally anyone can plug into Snapshot Telematics. It tracks safe driving habits, like avoiding hard braking, for an average annual savings of $328. Stacking these is the absolute secret to affordable insurance.
Finally, we have Section 6, Exclusions and Final Tips. This is all about avoiding costly mistakes.
So, what if a household member has a really terrible driving record, maybe a recent DUI? Their presence on your policy could cause your premium to absolutely skyrocket. Well, to solve this, some states let you sign what's called a named driver exclusion. This is a formal, legally binding agreement stating that this specific person will never, ever drive your car under any circumstances. It completely removes their high risk from your bill. Just a heads up though, not all states allow this. Places like New York and Wisconsin strictly prohibit it, so definitely keep that in mind when exploring your options.
But please, heed this cautionary quote directly from our legal sources. If that excluded driver gets behind the wheel of your car, even just to move it out of the driveway or in a massive medical emergency, and they crash, Progressive will legally deny all claims. There is an absolute coverage void. You will be left entirely 100% financially responsible for every single bit of the damages and medical bills. So yes, it's a powerful tool for lowering your rate, but it carries immense risk.
All right, let's round this out with a few rapid-fire final tips for flawless policy management. First, always add new vehicles within the 30-day grace period so you don't face a lapse. Also, remember that while liability coverage generally follows the car, your medical coverages, like personal injury protection and medical payments, those follow the driver. Another big one, if a permissive user totals your car, your collision coverage doesn't act as a secondary safety net for them if your limits are too low. You pay that difference out of pocket. And lastly, if your roommate already has their own Progressive policy, just call an agent and ask to list them as deferred or non-rated on yours. It satisfies the household rule without charging you an extra dime.
So, I want you to take a hard look at your household today. Are there roommates, teens, or significant others with access to your keys who aren't listed on your app? Getting ahead of this ensures you are fully protected from financial disaster, all while allowing you to harvest those fantastic multi-car and good student discounts. Just remember to always consult a licensed Progressive agent for personalized advice, since insurance laws vary wildly by state and by your individual circumstance. Ask yourself, if disaster struck tomorrow, would your policy actually protect you? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and hey, stay safe out there on the road.